Hello and welcome to the second part of our first pattern play where we're looking at corner to corner. In this tutorial we'll be looking at how to crochet a rectangular corner to corner piece. It is done the same way diagonally, so on one side we continue to increase, but on the other side, once we've got the right height, we begin to decrease. It's done exactly the same way with our clusters, consisting of 3 doubles and a chain, or if you prefer UK terminology, 3 trebles and a chain. So grab your yarn, grab your hook, and let's get started. Let's begin. To start our corner to corner project, we need a slip knot and 6 chains. How I create a slip knot is yarn over my hand, hold it in place with my 2 lower fingers, thumb at the top for extra support, wrap it around those fingers so I create an X, keep going under my little finger. Hook goes under the top yarn, over the second yarn, and I pull that through. I continue to pull the hook up and drop my left hand, and I've created a slip knot. Okay. On one side of our project we're going to be doing increasing clusters, and on the other side we'll just be decreasing, so we don't need to do an increasing cluster. To begin with, we do an increasing cluster, so we need to chain 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. In here we need to count back 4 stitches, 1, 2, 3, 4. And that is the stitch we're going to be working into. So we do a double crochet into this chain, a double crochet into the next chain along, and a double crochet into our next chain. This is our first cluster. Continue, we need to increase again, so we're ready for our second row. So we chain 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and again we work into the 4th chain from the hook. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to do a double crochet into this chain, a double crochet into our next chain, and a double crochet into the next chain. Now that I've done my increasing cluster, I need to turn my work. You can turn your work over or you can turn it under. My only suggestion would be to be consistent. I'm going to turn my work over. I need to secure this cluster into my previous one by finding the space between our chain and our first double crochet. So this is the space in here. I slip stitch into there, and I've now secured my cluster. To continue, I need to do a regular cluster, not an increasing one, as it's not at the end of the row, it's part of the row. So I just chain 3. That is the only difference between a cluster in the middle of the row and an increasing one. After I've chained 3, I'm going to do 3 double crochets into this space again. 1, 2, and 3. And now I have completed my second row. My work is not yet big enough to make it rectangular. I would like to increase it a little bit more before I start to make it a rectangular shape. So I'm going to do another increasing cluster. So I need to increase by chaining 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and again working the 4th chain from the hook. 1, 2, 3, 4. Double crochet into this chain, double crochet into the next chain, and double crochet into the next chain along. Oops, do that part again. Once I've done my increasing cluster, I need to turn my work again. I need to secure my cluster by looking for the top space in my previous cluster. That's that gap there between the chain and the first double crochet. So my hook goes straight into that space and I create a slip stitch to secure this cluster. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and do 3 double crochets into this space. 1, 2, and 3. I need to secure this cluster with my next one, so I find that space again and I slip stitch into there. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and 3 double crochets back into that space. 1, 2, and 3. I'm going to make my piece one more row bigger before I start to increase on one side and decrease on the other to make my rectangular shape. So to do that I need an increasing cluster, so I chain 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm working into the 4th chain from the hook, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I do a double crochet into this chain, double crochet into the next chain along, and a double crochet into the next chain along. Now that I have completed my increasing cluster, I can turn my work, and I need to secure that by looking for the space at the top of my previous cluster in between the chain and the first double crochet. Slip stitch into there to secure my new cluster, and I can complete my row. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and 3 double crochets into the same space. 1, 2, and 3. Secure that again into my next cluster. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and 3 double crochet again into that same space. 1, 2, and 3. Secure that into the next cluster and finish off with the last one. 3 chain, 1, 2, 3, and 3 double crochets into that same space. 1, 2, and 3. This is now a large enough sample to create a rectangular shape. So let's start shaping our project. To create our shape, a rectangular shape for the corner to corner, we decrease on one side and we increase on the other side. So I'm going to begin decreasing on this side. So to do that, I don't need another increasing cluster. I need to turn my work as soon as possible. So I'm going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to turn my work and secure my chain, just like I would if it was a cluster. Working it again into that space above our last cluster with a slip stitch, chain 3 again, 1, 2, 3, and then 3 double crochets into that same space. 1, 2 and 3. Secure that into the next cluster and continue with those clusters till we get to here. So 3 chain, 3 double crochets, 1, 2 and 3. Slip stitch that into the next space, 3 chains, 1, 2, 3, and 3 double crochet into that space again. 1, 2 and 3. Continuing our row with one more cluster, 3 chains, 1, 2, 3, a double crochet, 3 double crochets into that space. 1, 2 and 3. Now we remember we decreased on this side, so we need to increase on this side. So we chain 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and we work in the 4th chain from the hook. 1, 2, 3, 4. Double crochet into there, double crochet into the next chain, and double crochet into the next chain along. Again, we need to turn our work and secure our cluster. So we slip stitch into the top of our previous cluster. And now we are working clusters back to this space here. So chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and 3 double crochets into there. Continue as we have on previous rows, securing that cluster and creating another one. Secure that cluster and create our last cluster. And now we can already see that this is our row that we are decreasing. So I can finish off here. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3. Turn my work, secure it in here, and begin the process again of another row down. At the end of this row, I will increase with an increasing cluster, and then I'll work back. And on this side, I will continue to decrease. Let's do that 2 more times, just so you can see how the pattern works. So I begin my cluster, chain 3, 1, 2, 3, 3 double crochet into that same space. I then need to secure my cluster and continue another one. Secure that, create another cluster. If you're ever unsure whether you are on the increasing or decreasing side, you can look at your work. I can clearly see that I'm decreasing on this side, I'm increasing on this side, so I need to do another cluster here and an increasing cluster. finished that row and I'm on the increasing side, so I now do an increasing cluster. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I work into the 4th chain from the hook. 1, 2, 3, 4, and I do my 3 double crochets again. Turn my work and secure it. Three chains and double crochets all the way back to the end of this row. Secure that. This is our decreasing side, so I'm now going to show you how to decrease to finish off your rectangular project. Once you have your rectangular project to the right length, this long side being the longest length of your project, it won't get any longer, we can begin to decrease on both sides. So just going back to where I ended the previous row, chain 3, 1, 2, 3, turn my work and I secure the chain. And then I complete the clusters for the remainder of this row. Chain 3 with 3 double crochets for each cluster. And again secure and another cluster. Secure this one, and this is the last cluster we are making on this row, and I will show you why in just a moment. This is the length of the project that we want, so I just need to join and come back. So slip stitch to secure it, chain 3, 1, 2, 3, turn my work and work back along, secure it and create a cluster. So same as I have on previous rows. Secure and create my final cluster for this row. Secure this and we are almost done. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3 and flip the work over, secure that chain, and we are about to create our last cluster. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3, our 3 double clusters in here, 1, 2 and 3. We secure this and then we just finish off with our last chain 3, 1, 2, 3, turn our work one last time and secure the chain, and that is how we create a rectangular corner to corner project. Obviously you can make this to any size you like. You can continue to increase and decrease for as long as you like till you get your set project size. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial and that it's been helpful for you, and I look forward to seeing you in some of my other tutorials. Thank you.